it's Hailey and today is Bookmas Day 9, so we're going to be talking about our top 9 books that were published in 2016. Don't forget, if you're participating in Bookmas, to hashtag everything Bookmas 2016 and tag me in it so you can make sure that I see it and you may be featured in Bookmas Day 10's video. So keep in mind, now that we're getting to kind of a big list of my top books of the year, some of these may be repeated in future videos, like some of these are going to be repeated in the finale because they really were some of my absolute favorites, but I did want to do a video anyways, just focusing on ones that were published this year anyways. I just said anyways twice in that sentence, but you get the point. So the first book is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This came out late this year and I was lucky enough to get an arc of it, and I really enjoyed this. I think it's a very interesting take on the dystopian because it's a world with no disease, nothing, no one dies naturally. What happens is basically these Grim Reaper figures are charged with going around and killing people so the population doesn't get out of hand, and this book is about 2 Scythe's apprentices, and the whole thing was very cool. The world was very interesting and I just really enjoyed it, and I think it's a very interesting dystopian. Next up is The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. I absolutely loved this book. I think it's just such an important read nowadays. It's all about a girl who is about to be deported, but then she meets this guy and they have this kind of crazy day together, but she knows in the end that she's going to be deported. So I think that the story is just so relevant and it deals with so many race issues. It's a very diverse read, which I absolutely love, and I just think this book is so important, so amazing, and Nicola Yoon is a fantastic writer, and I loved how like it was all about really destiny and all that and pondering that. It was a very kind of pensive read, which was very enjoyable because it had impact, but at the same time it was really fun and easy to read. So this was a fantastic book that came out this year. Next up is The Hidden Oracle, which is the first book of the Trials of Apollo by Rick Riordan, and this one I really loved. I loved seeing a god in the body of a 16-year-old with acne who's like a little bit chubby, like just not that kind of perfect ethereal form that he's used to, and Apollo was just a really hilarious perspective to be reading from. It was such a fun read and I just really enjoyed it. Next up is The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. This is another really important read. It deals with issues of rape culture, and that's something that's very important for everyone to learn about and be discussing, and this book is a conversation starter, which I think is really great, and at the same time it's told in a way that like it's an interesting story, but like the story isn't the focus. It also has this kind of lesson to it, but the lesson isn't the focus either. It's a very interesting book, I think, is the only way that I can possibly put it. I didn't know what was going on half of the time, but I really loved that. Like that was kind of the beauty of it. So it's a fantastic book and I highly recommend it. Next up is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. I was so excited that I read this and enjoyed it because I really like Victoria Schwab as a person. Like I follow her on Twitter and I think she's really funny, but I read The Archive by her and I wasn't a huge fan of that one, but that was kind of because I had previous expectations for it. Like I was expecting it to be something completely different than it ended up being, so that's why I was kind of set up for disappointment. But this one, I didn't really know what to expect. I just kind of went into it and I ended up really loving it. It's all about kind of good and evil and how the boundaries between good and evil are blurred, and it's this crazy world with monsters and music, and it's just awesome, and I'm really looking forward to the sequel coming out next year. Next up is Milady Jane, which is by the Lady Janies, who are Brody Ashton, Cynthia Hand, and Jody Meadows. I was so pleasantly surprised by this book. I was not expecting to really enjoy it, but I had been hearing a ton of buzz after when it came out, so when it came in my Owl Crate for I don't even know what month, but when it came in Owl Crate, I was like, okay, I guess I'll give it a shot, and I read it in like 2 days, and it's a pretty chunky book, but I ended up reading it in 2 days and I loved it. It was so funny, like so weird. It's kind of a book that shouldn't work, but it does. Like it's all about people turn into animals, and it's about the 9-day queen, which is Jane Grey. She is queen for 9 days and then ends up being beheaded. So it's kind of something where like you know the end of it, but you don't, because they kind of turn history on its head. Like the first part, they follow history kind of, but then the second part, they're like, okay, we're just gonna go whatever. So this book was hilarious, and there's not many funny books that are in like young adult. I don't find that there's many funny ones, but this one was so funny, and it's kind of my go-to recommendation for a funny book because I was laughing out loud so many times. I mean, there's so many references to things that we know today. It's just fantastic, and I can't wait for the next book that they're going to put out. I believe it's about Jane Eyre, and I think it's coming out in 2018, and I'm so excited for it. Next up is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. I was really expecting to love this one, but I loved it even more than I had been expecting to. I loved the characters. I loved that the love interest was a writer. I loved their relationship. I loved the dogs. There were dogs, and there was dog walking, and it was amazing. I just loved the dogs so much, and like that's why I love this cover so much, is because of the dogs. But I'll get to that in tomorrow's video. But anyways, this story just had so many things going for it. It had amazing characters that I really enjoyed. It had a great storyline, and I loved the concept of how the main character is a politician's daughter, then her father has this huge scandal, so her life is kind of turned upside down. So her plans are all destroyed, and she has to kind of figure out what to do for the whole summer. So I loved seeing her trying to come back from that, because I think that I'm a person who really likes to have a plan, and when things change I get very frustrated. So I think seeing her go through that really was like, I could just really see myself in her character, which I always love seeing myself in character. So if you haven't read this one yet, I recommend picking it up because it is fantastic. This is definitely, I feel like it's either my first favorite of hers or my second favorite of hers. It's kind of battling it out with Amy and Roger's Epic Detour. So I was really expecting to love this one. This one came out very early last year. It came out in February, and everyone was reading it and just buzzing about it, but I didn't end up picking it up because it's like I like reading historical fiction in fall or winter, and I just felt like it was perfect for that time period. So by the time I was ready to get to it, it was already spring, so I decided to save it for this year, and well, later in this year, you know, next winter. You understand what I'm trying to say, I just don't know how to articulate it. But I was not disappointed by this at all. Fantastic. She is such an amazing writer. Her historical fictions are unflinchingly honest, and her characters are amazing, and this is told in very short chapters with alternating perspectives between many characters who are all fleeing from something and trying to get to safety at the tail end of World War II. It's a tragic, heartbreaking story, but it is so beautiful and so worth the read. Next up is Furthermore by Tahara Mafi. This is one that I was kind of apprehensive about, to be honest, just because it's her first venture into middle grade, and I wasn't sure how her writing would transfer into middle grade, but it did so well. Her writing was perfect for this story. This story was full of whimsy and magic, and it was very Wonderland-esque. I mean, one, we have a main character whose name is Alice, and two, there's a time where she's going, like, she falls down a hole, so, and it says, like, Alice fell very far. Like, it's very Wonderland-esque, and it did the story justice. It really paid homage to Wonderland while making it its own, and I wouldn't say it's a Wonderland retelling, but you can see where there are elements that come from there, and I just felt like this was a beautiful story, and it really matches the beauty of the cover, which once again I will get to in tomorrow's video. But I just loved the characters. I loved Alice. She was such a great, like, snippy, sassy little 12-year-old, which I adored. I loved the colorful world of Furthermore, like, well, the dark world of Furthermore, but Farrenwood, how colorful it was, and just the worlds. Everything about this was so beautifully crafted, and I felt like there was a picture painted, and her writing was perfect for it, so it was just amazing. And the final book on this list is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I loved this book. It was probably my most anticipated book of this year because it's an Alice in Wonderland retelling all about the Queen of Hearts before she's the Queen of Hearts, and you guys know I love Alice, so I was really looking forward to this one, and I was not disappointed. I loved the characters, loved how Catherine, she wanted to be a baker, and that's all she really wanted, but I loved seeing her journey to to being the Queen of Hearts, not the Red Queen, the Queen of Hearts, because you knew what the payoff was going to be, but you didn't know how she was going to get there. So it was very fascinating to see her become this tyrannical ruler, because she really was just a kind-hearted person before. So those are my top 9 books that I have read that were published in 2016, and now here here are some of yours.
So first off on Instagram we have Milady Jane with this really pretty picture of all of her picks. I'm really interested in the Muse, I just haven't picked it up yet, so maybe I'll pick that one up soon as well. And then on YouTube we have Let's Read Instead with all of her picks, and I love the fact that she has the Hamilton book in the background. That's probably the best part. And then on Twitter we have Jay, or My Own Olaf, and she has her picks, and obviously I had to choose this one because it has Alice in Wonderland in it.
And I'm now going to be turning it over to present day me to see how my reading has been going.
Hey guys, I am here at my lovely Christmas tree with my pretty little, very sleepy Jackson. He is ready for bed, but I just wanted to give you guys an update on my reading for today. So I haven't really read a lot today. I've read probably about 50 pages of Gemina. I've just been trying to clean my room and haven't really been reading, but I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm just kind of trying to take it easy. I do really want to finish my Goodreads goal though, so I am going to start kind of cracking down on my reading in the next couple of days. So I'm going to go and read a lot before bed, but yeah, for now I've only read about 50 pages, but like I said, I'm hoping I will get more done. So yeah, we are now signing off for our update today. Say goodbye, Jackson. Oh, we also have another visitor, Sadie, and her bowl of bottle caps, which is her favorite toy. Right, Sadie? Alright, bye!
So that is all for Bookmas Day 9. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys tomorrow for Bookmas Day 10. We only have 2 days left, which is so sad, but I'm also happy to have free time again. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!